2002. The Moscow Theater Hostage Crisis. For 8 years, Russia had been at war with the mountainous Republic of Chechnya in the Caucasus. By 1999, this conflict had escalated into a brutal Second Chechen War, bringing heavy losses on both sides daily. Amidst this turmoil, Shamil Basayev, the renowned commander of the Chechen militant group Caucasus Front, devised a plan to bring the Russian government to the negotiation table and end the war quickly. The audacious plan was to strike at the heart of Russia, Moscow itself. This operation was to be executed by the Riyad Us-Salihin Martyrs Brigade, including its women's unit, the infamous Black Widows. Shamil Basayev, the mastermind. Basayev was a highly skilled guerrilla strategist and a veteran of the Afghan war against Russia, having successfully led multiple operations in the Chechen-Russian conflict. Basayev now aimed for an operation that would shake the entire world. Planning and logistics. The attack was orchestrated by two senior Chechen commanders, Musa Barayev and Abubakar Shishani. Around 40 militants were involved. Weeks before the attack, they infiltrated Moscow in small civilian-clad groups using forged documents and stayed at different locations. The weapons, explosive devices, and supplies were transported into Moscow using various routes and stored at strategic locations. On the night of the attack, the militants and their equipment were brought to a building just a few blocks away from the Dubrovka Theater on Melnikova Street, one of Moscow's renowned venues. The attack, 23rd October, 2002. At 9 p.m., the Dubrovka Theater was bustling with activity. That night, the following were present: 802 audience members, 77 actors and performers, 27 musicians, 10 staff members. At 9:05 p.m., the sound of gunfire echoed through the theater as heavily armed masked militants stormed the venue. First group secured all entry and exit points, sealing off the building and positioning snipers. Second group rushed towards the stage and hall where a live performance was underway. Third group, Black Widows, took positions among the audience, at the rear and between the seats. The attack was so swift and coordinated that for several minutes, the audience believed the militants were part of the theatrical performance. The militants and their arsenal. These militants were battle-hardened fighters, well-versed in guerrilla warfare and Russian military tactics. The Black Widows were women who had lost their husbands and families to Russian forces, making them resolute and ready to sacrifice their lives. The attackers were armed with Kalashnikov rifles, pistols, sniper rifles, grenades, and booby traps. 2 massive bombs installed in the hall, capable of collapsing the entire building. The detonators for these bombs were held by 2 Black Widows. The demands. The militants issued the following demands. 1. Immediate ceasefire in Chechnya. 2nd. Recognition of Chechnya as an independent state. 3rd. Withdrawal of Russian troops from Chechnya. 4th. Mediation by the international community. 5th. Investigation into Russian war crimes in Chechnya by an independent commission. The Russian response. Having faced humiliation in the First Chechen War, 1994 to 1996, Russia was determined not to appear weak again. The government refused to negotiate with the militants and began planning a swift and decisive operation. The mission was entrusted to the elite Spetsnaz Alpha Group, one of the most experienced and ruthless special forces units in Russia. A gesture of goodwill. In an attempt to encourage negotiations, the militants voluntarily released 150 hostages, including children, the elderly, pregnant women, the sick, and Muslims. The impossible operation. A direct assault on the theater was a gamble for Russian forces, even with a rapid attack, neutralizing all the militants while preventing the detonation of the suicide vests and the massive bombs seemed impossible. Thousands of Russian troops surrounded the theater, evacuating the area. A secret technology. As time ran out, Russian forces considered a third option, a classified knockout gas. This highly secret anesthetic gas was capable of incapacitating individuals in a short time. The formula for this gas remains a Russian state secret to this day. With only hours left before the militants' deadline, the Spetsnaz operatives began deploying gas canisters through the theater's sewage lines. The assault, 26th October. As the gas filled the theater, many militants and hostages began losing consciousness. The Spetsnaz Alpha team launched their assault. Entering the theater with lightning speed, they shot the semi-conscious militants one by one. The Black Widows were specifically targeted with headshots to prevent their vests from detonating. Musa Barayev and his group were located in a cafeteria and neutralized within moments. Some militants wearing gas masks exchanged fire, wounding 2 Spetsnaz operatives and killing 7 hostages in the crossfire. Within 30 minutes, the theater was cleared. The suicide vests and bombs were successfully defused, ensuring no large-scale detonations occurred. Casualties. While the operation prevented a catastrophic explosion, the use of the gas resulted in significant collateral damage. 120 hostages died, primarily due to the effects of the gas. 700 hostages suffered severe illness, with many requiring hospitalization for weeks or months. Despite these losses, many argue that the alternative, hundreds killed in a blast, would have been far worse. This operation remains one of the most controversial and complex hostage rescue missions in history.